So don't get left behind. Be open to receive. That's
That's
right.
it. And let me add this too, based on what you said. I love conversations like this. I'm telling you, I'm loving in the arena, okay? What you said is, you have been a mentee before. You can't be a mentor effectively unless you've been a mentee. I'm just saying, okay? And I think I need to let that rest right there. You cannot ask anybody else to do what you have never done. How? Hey guys, it's Dr. Sonia here with Jump First. I've helped hundreds of creative entrepreneurs and business owners to take back their free time, generate additional revenue, and celebrate while living that work from anywhere lifestyle through creating online courses and digital education. So I'm super excited that you are here. Say it with me. Done is better than perfect. Master one thing at a time. Practice makes better. And this has to work. Right? Let's get it. Hello, what is going on? Awesome party peeps and course architects. Is Dr. Sonia here with Jump First. I'm super excited, like really thrilled, over the moon, all of the things to be bringing in the arena live with Dr. Sonia. But this is our speed dating segment, and it's the pilot for speed dating, which is so interesting and kind of like new. It's not kind of new, it is completely new for me, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this season of life and business, bringing new things, new ideas to fruition. And so within the arena, okay, speed dating, we have a business segment, and then we also have the actual romantic dating segment. And so my goal is to bring you something new and fresh and all the good stuff. So we're going to start off with our business panel. Now for the business panel, these are, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves in a moment and bring them up to stage, but you're going to be interacting with two panelists on today. And they are in business, and I'll let them introduce themselves. And they're looking for mentees. They're looking for people who want to be coached. They're looking for new participants, all of those things for their programs. And so it's super exciting to be able to kind of speed date them on a business level, where you get to ask them questions about what it is that they do. And then if it is a match at the end, you guys exchange information, and we follow up on both sides just to make sure, okay, that you made the connection. If you are watching this and you want to come up and speak to a panelist, then you'll just type ready in the chat, okay? I'm going to bring up both of our panelists for tonight and get some introductions going. We got Sam and we got Virginia. Let's go. I'm so excited. I'm excited for y'all being a part of the inaugural pilot speed dating arena. Let's go. I wish I had some have to get like the sound effects, all the things. Okay.
It's okay. I got you. Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm really loving this laid back vibe for tonight. And so I'm going to turn it over to you. We're going to start with Virginia. You got my streamers going and all the things. And then we're going to follow up with Sam. A quick intro, who you are, what you do, and who are you really looking for when it comes to clients, mentees, all of the above.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my name is Virginia Murray. So I got my hands involved in a couple of things, right? So I am the owner of a private practice therapy business in the state of Delaware. It's called Progressive Perspective Counseling. I'm also the founder of a nonprofit. The nonprofit is Path Perspective Incorporated. I am also the host of a YouTube podcast called Talk Connected, and I am a author of a book called The Completion of Self, a Book of Healing. So overall, I am a licensed professional counselor, and the audience and, the mentees or clients that I am looking for are people who kind of, are in the field to look for guidance and support, on how to navigate, their own mental health versus, like how do I balance building a business and stay healthy? People who are looking for guidance on how to navigate life and really zone in on the things and the uniqueness of their life of, what they need, because everybody needs something different. So overall, looking for that client that's just like, how do I balance life and all the things? So that's just a little bit about me.
Yay, I love that. Welcome to the arena.
Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. All right, Sam, tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, who you are, who you're looking for.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. My name is Sam Amsterdam, and I am a biotech professional. I have been in the industry for about 23 years. And so I have traveled up the ranks in my industry, and I have been a mentor and coach unofficially for the better part of those 23 years. And in my industry, specifically what I do in biotech is regulatory operations. So working with the FDA in terms of sending clinical information to the agency to get your drugs approved. There is no formal education for this. So I learned this skill on the job. And basically what this skill is, it's fast paced, it's technical savvy, it is business driven, it is systems driven, and you have to be able to be sharp. It's attention to detail. And so I've honed my skills over the years, and I've mentored so many people. And I decided, with some great mentorship from Dr. Sonia, of how I can turn this into teaching the next generation. And so the students that I'm looking for are people who are in the early stages of their career, whether they're in biotech or they've never heard of it and they want to get into it. I've created two courses. One that gives you an introductory course, and then the other one is a masterclass that can help you level you up to where you're actually making decisions, you're a problem solver, because that is the core of what it is that I do.
Yay, I love that. Thank you so much for the awesome introduction, Sam and Virginia. Those are awesome introductions. So in case you're just joining, here's what we're doing. This is speed dating in the arena, okay? And I'm super excited that you are here. We have two business mentors, and they are looking for clients. They're looking for students. They're looking for somebody that they can help and impart wisdom and all of those things. And so we're going to dig into a little bit more about what it is that they do and specifically who they're looking for. If anything interests you or piques your interest that they say, I want you to type ready inside of the chat. Okay. When you type ready inside of the chat, we'll go ahead and bring you up. Kat's going to send you our email address. You're going to send us an email, and we're going to send you the link to join us in the arena. Like, we want this to be exclusive. Okay. I designed this to be not like everything else you see out there. I want this to be different, unique. I really am about, just like the two panelists you see here, helping people, making impact, okay, all those things. And we don't do that just by accident, okay, by kind of meandering or falling into something. We do that very intentionally. And so that's what In the Arena is about. It's very intentional. Kat's going to be monitoring the comment section over on the YouTube channel, because we are over here in the arena and we want you to come join us, okay? Come on and talk to these panelists. Okay. Let's jump into it. So my first question is always like, how did you get into your current field? Like, what happened? How'd you figure out you were good at what you do, or that you wanted to teach? Like, all of those things. Like, how'd you get where you currently are today?
You want to go, Virginia, or you want to go? Okay, I'll go. Surprisingly enough, I fell into it.
It happens.
However, it's a lot of, I think it was 80% falling into it, and the other 20% was kind of designed by the universe. So originally, my educational background was in biology science, and I left school after going 2 years, and I was like, this path that I planned for myself is becoming a doctor. I'm like, do I really want to do this? And I just decided to I said I had no other work experience. And I said, medicine, hospital work is all I knew. And so I said, let me try something else. And I went to go work for a finance company just randomly. And I realized, oh, I love numbers and I'm good at math. And so that was a discovery. And I said to myself, okay, I need to find a job that has math and science. I think that is where my niche is going to be. And I think it's the bridging of both worlds that I enjoy. And fast forward, I think it was maybe, I actually ended up being a recruiter. And so I hired people for work. One of the companies that I hired people to work was at Millennium Pharmaceuticals, which is now Takeda. And all of my employees that I'd hired, they'd come every week and they'll tell me about this company that they work for and how great it is. And the people just love being together and didn't want to go home. I'm like, a company that people wanted to stay at. I'm like, okay, I want to work there, because if they enjoy working, maybe I would too. And so fast forward 6 years later, I went there, same time 9/11 happened, and I was out of a job. And I went there for a job as an executive admin. I needed something to do just to get my foot in the door. Long story short, I'd never worked a day as an admin. And I fell into regulatory affairs department in this biotech company. And that was where my career was born. It's the skills for this particular role is you needed to be, the foundation was being detail oriented. Being an executive admin, you have to know all the details of every single thing that is happening. And so I capitalized on those skills, and I was able to learn the systems, how to do the publishing, how to do the document management, all of these different things, little by little. And a lot of it, I taught myself how to use it, and that I built upon it. At that time, I hadn't graduated college yet. And so I decided to go back. I got my degree in business administration, and then I got my MBA in entrepreneurship. And that was the dream. that was what was born out of this. And here we are, 23 years later, and I'm in it. And it is something that is what pushes me to the limit, to do better, to do more, to learn more. It opens up that door of curiosity that I always had.
I love that. And all of that experience before you finish school, which is why, that's what I teach, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
you don't need the degrees and certifications. We like to have them, especially as high performers, but you have all that wisdom and life experience even before you got the additional degree. So that's like super cool.
It is great. And I could also say a lot of things that are barriers to
worth noting.
Some of my students is, oh, I don't have the degree, or, oh, I don't have this, or will I be able to get into the industry? One of the persons that I mentor almost, 10, 12 years ago, she came from a different industry. I hired her and trained her. And so she has gone through the ranks, and now she's a manager, a senior manager. And so not ever knowing anything, not having a science degree. And there have been other people subsequently that I've hired and trained and have gone on to do other things.
I love it. I love it. What an awesome story. Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Virginia, what you got? How'd you get here?
Yes. So before I get started on my story, I want to say, just listening to Dr. Sonia and listening to Sam, what I really love about being in the arena today is there is no gatekeeping, right? It is no gatekeeping. It is wanting and having a desire to take the information and knowledge you have and pass it along to others. And I love being in this space because of that. So
I love you being here. Thank you. And for those of you who don't know and can't tell, this is my sister. So this is one of my younger sisters. Of course, I'm the oldest. All right, go for it. Jump in. Tell us about you, and thank you so much for the kind words.
So I will give a little piece of my story and background. When I was 7 years old, right? I don't know if you guys all remember the show Living Single, right? There
Oh my
was
gosh,
a lawyer
yes.
on, yes, there was a lawyer on there. Her name was Maxine Shaw. And I said from the age of 7 years old, I don't know what I was doing watching Living Single at the age of 7, but no judgment, right? When I was 7, I said, I want to be a lawyer. And I felt it so passionately in my heart, kind of like seeing her character was just like, I want to do that. I want to help people. And I carried that with me, you know, throughout the years, throughout middle school, high school, got to college, got the bachelor's degree in sociology and legal studies. And I was going to take that and go to Widener Law. So I ended up applying for Widener Law. I took a couple of classes underneath of one course, and I said, this is not for me. I got there and I felt so out of place. And I said, this is not for me. So I ended up leaving. And I don't know. It's one of those stories where you look back and you say, I don't even know how I got here. I didn't even randomly, I was on my laptop and all of a sudden, like, I see the clinical mental health program. And all of a sudden I said, that's for me. I've never thought about being a licensed professional therapist. So when you ask me how I got here, I really honestly say it's the divine intervention of God, because I never wanted to be this. I don't know how I got here, but I love it. And I truly feel in my heart that this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. Sometimes we go this way and we like, okay, this is the way I'm supposed to go. And God is just like, yeah, divine intervention. I'm gonna take it this way. You know, and his will is always greater than our own will or desires. So I got here, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how I got here, but I'm glad that I'm here. And I know there's a lot of people out there who don't know how they got where they got to, but they are glad to be where they're at. And I am one of those people who can attest to that, you know. So I ended up applying for the clinical mental health license. I ended up going through school for that, got my credentials and everything. First, you got to get a licensed associate, then you get your licensed professional. And as I'm navigating working in private practice for someone else, I had a thought one day and I said, I have the same credentials as the person I work for. I may not have the same years of experience, but I have the exact same credentials as the person that I'm working for. And so that's when, you know, God was just like, okay, it's time to open the business. So I took a leap out on faith. There was fear there, but my faith overcame my fear. I was so fearful that I tell people this, and I can laugh at it now. I put in a 8 weeks notice because I was so scared to venture out on my own. I was so scared to jump first. I was so scared to, you know, navigate on my own. But then I was sitting in my car one day on my lunch break, and God began to minister to me. And he said, there's no way that I'm going to tell you to do something or place you somewhere and leave you alone and leave you without. And so he said, do you trust me? And I said, I trust you, God. So as soon as he had that conversation with me, I walked back in from my lunch break and the owner says, hey, we don't need you for 8 weeks, but we need you for 4. I said, okay, I trust you, God. And thus then I started to open my own practice and laid the foundation, and now I'm here. So
I love that. I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing. Like, you both dropped so many nuggets, and I don't know if you guys out there that are watching this or who are watching this can tell, but there's such alignment, like, with the people that enter your life, the people that you come across. Now, granted, my younger sister is here, right? But like, she doesn't have to be in the arena, right? I'm not paying her to be here. Like, none of that. So she doesn't have to be here. And Sam too, right? Like, coming across Sam went through the JFA CPA program tier 1. and is doing amazing. And so we were catching up backstage before, and I wanted to catch up some more backstage before we hopped on, because I haven't talked to her in not that long, but it's been a little bit. It feels like forever when you start to build relationships with people. But there are people that will come across your life, right? Like I call it a timeline, and it's a real life timeline, right? Not like social media timeline, like real life timeline. We are only here for a limited time. And so I start to think about like not the constraint of time, but like the boundaries that the things I get to do cross, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So like the people you run into, the places you frequent, the things that you do, like both of you all's story, there was a parallel of that. I think you named it by a name, Virginia, where you're like, you ever get somewhere in life and you're like, how did I get here? Right? And Sam was saying the same thing. And I resonate with that so much. There's I don't know what the proverb is. I don't know if it's an ancient proverb or an African proverb or where it comes from, but the proverb is that you live life forward and understand it backwards. And it's so true. Like you look up one day and all of these sequential things have happened to you and you don't really pay them any mind. And a lot of times we take and have these like adverse negative experiences. We call them negative, or failures or lessons, or however you want to word it. And we get upset about it. I actually posted about this today on Threads. I'm like, you can be bitter or you can be better. You need to choose though. Right? Like you can't let something keep you where you currently are. Like you got to keep moving forward. So I will always choose to be better. But that's the thing, like you never know why things are happening. So everything that happens to me, I always see it as, oh, well, there has to be something better than this. Right? If it's not going according to my plan, and it's not my plan in the first place. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that too. And so it's like, as I look at, there's a lot of cardinals these days, these red cardinals I send being like everywhere. I've been seeing them a lot lately. And you pay attention to things like that when you're grounded, you're centered, you understand what is happening in your life and that purpose. And so it's one of those things where you just kind of, Kaz, like you're cutting in and out. I'm sorry, y'all, for the stream. I don't know what's going on. I promise I closed all my tabs. Thank you for letting me know, Kat. But it's just one of those things. I'll wrap this up and let you guys get back to it because I really want to highlight you on tonight. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things where if you pay attention to how life goes, it's seasons, and no season really lasts forever, but every season is for a purpose and a reason. So it's just paying attention to that. So I appreciate y'all sharing your stories. Awesome. Okay. So tell us more about like, how do you help the people that you want to work with? So the clients that you're looking to onboard, the mentees that you may be looking to mentor, like what does it look like to actually work with you? What do you really want to help with? How do you really want to impact? Not necessarily who, but how do you really want to impact?
Yes. Oh, I love that question. Not who, but how, right? I want to impact people in a way that their life becomes a testimony to set off a chain reaction for other people to be able to experience the same thing in the uniqueness of their lives, right? And I take the approach, somebody write that down for me for next. So I take the approach, right? In just getting to know the person when we initially meet. Because you can see on paper and you can see on the forms that come in, hey, I'm coming in for this, or I would love to have a goal of XYZ. But until you sit down and you really get to know the uniqueness of someone, it's almost like tailoring something just for them and to fit in their lives, because everyone has a unique story. For example, me and Sam both kind of said in the same way, I don't know how I got here, but I'm here. But they were two different stories and we took two different paths and we both probably needed two different things to get here. So when I meet with a client, you can have 5 people all coming in with the same goal, but they need something tailored differently. So I like to get to know the client, who they are, and I just love to not only pour in and encourage, but I love for them to take the wheel and say, okay, I'm at a place now where I got this on my own, where you get support, but I know how to do it. Now it's almost like that saying, give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man a fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. So when you not gatekeep and pour into other people the skills that they need to have a healthier life and find a balance in their own life, now they know how to carry that, and they can touch unlimited amount of people. Whoever is called to their testimony, they can now, pour into other people. I am so all about a chain reaction of positivity and healing and finding balance in life. I love that. So that is who I'm kind of, looking for, and how I would kind of approach it.
And I really like to, before Sam jumps in, I really like the fact that you you want to help people be independent. Like, you know what I mean? Like some people in your field are like, come forever. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, what is the goal here?
Yes, the goal is to be able to do it on your own. That's the goal.
Yeah.
And if you do it right, and if you do it the right way, and you can release people when they need to be released so that they can go on with their work and helping others, the door is going to be never ending for people to come in and be there for you. So you don't need to hold on to one person, because they have purpose and work to do on their own. And the purpose and work that you're doing is going to be never ending and flowing, but you got to release people. You got to let people do it on their own, because they got somewhere to be and things to do as well. And you want to help them get there.
That's it. I love that. I love that. Right.
Yeah.
Sam, how do you help?
Virginia, that was well said. I've all of those things I could have never articulated any better. However, I would preface this by saying I have this particular, it's a little saying that I do in every one of my, it's throughout all of my posts, and one of the sayings that I hold dear, and it's by Maya Angelou, and it says, when you learn, teach. When you get, give. And that right there is the philosophy behind what it is that I do. Because if I'm successful, then we're all successful. We all in this entire world don't want the same things. Like, one person A versus person B. Person A may want, be a millionaire, a billionaire. And person A may just want to have a happy family, have a great home, not have too much stress, and maybe go on vacations a couple of times a year. Everyone have different dreams. And so when I am teaching or coaching someone, like Virginia said, I want to have a conversation about what is your goal, who you are right now, and what are some of the stories you've been telling yourself to not help propel you forward. And we then have to change those stories, because if you've been told that you can't do something, or you believe that you can't do something, then take a page out of my book, because my story is long. It is multi-dimensional. There's lots of flavor happening in it. I could tell you many stories and not be finished. But to preface it to make it even smaller, I came from a third world country. That this, of what we're talking right now in this arena, was never in my dream. The life that I'm living, the things that I'm doing, the places that I've visited and planned to, were not in my dream. I had a tiny little one, was traveled to the country that was awake while I was asleep. I was told the story as a little girl that there are parts of the world that when you're going to sleep, they're waking up. And when they're waking up, you're going to sleep. And at 5 years old, I said, wherever that place is, I would like to go. Dr. Sonia knows me. She knows I love traveling. I am talking passport has so many stamps And I continue to put stamps in there because the dream that I had for myself as a 5-year-old girl, I have surpassed that dream. So I'm just trying to here to help people dream bigger.
I love that. You know, I love that. I am all about that because so many people like minimize their dreams, minimize what they actually want and desire. And it's like, don't do that. Just want what you want and then go get it though. You know, like don't just want it and then think about it and dream about it. And then you get to the end of your life. We've seen it too many times. Too many funerals, homegoing services I have attended or heard about, and family members, talking about what that person dreamt about, what that person actually did to achieve their goals or didn't do, right? Or what they wanted and doing this in their memory. And it's like, but there are so many things that that person wanted to do while they were here. Or even talking to someone who knows that the end is near, you hear them, it's so much sometimes regret. Now, I've talked to a couple of people, who were nearing the end and they were full of life and they did everything they wanted to do. And there is such a difference. Okay. Such a difference. There is even like, I have been this historically empathetic person. And I still, part of me, have the empathy, but now it's knowing what to do with it because it's easy to misplace empathy, if that makes sense. It's easy to like internalize it, I should say, right? And then you're like, okay, like, and now you're taking on all of somebody else's feelings and hopes and dreams and wishes and failures and lessons and all these things. And it's like heavy. But there's another way to really understand, sympathize, right, with where someone is and what they're going through. And you can only help somebody from that place. You can't help somebody being where that person is. And this is what I teach with premium courses. Like you go back, right? It's not like you going back to stay, but it's you going back to go take that person by the hand and go, hey, I know the way forward. Because there are people who are looking at you kind of at the top of this hill. I had a mentor tell me one time, like, he literally said it to me point blank. And I was surprised that he said this to my face, but I appreciated it. He was like, do you know that there are people who look up to you? Like literally they view you at the top of this hill, this mountain, and they don't know how to get there. And it's intimidating. And you need to be the mentor to make sure that you go back down the mountain to get the people and bring them with you. Like you don't just yell orders at somebody from where you are. This is the difference between empathy and sympathy. You also don't go back and stay. That's empathy, right? And misplaced at that. You know where someone is. You sympathize with where they are. You go back and get them. Bring them forward. Where are we going? Right? It's a journey. And then the other piece I have to put here is you help people who want to be helped. Because not everybody's ready. Man, that used to tear me up. Used to tear me up.
Yeah. And when you were explaining what your mentor has said to you before, you say you got to go back and show people the path to get there, but don't stay there. And I'm so big on imagery, right? I seen kind of like in my mind, because I like to like imagine things as you're telling a story. I seen in my mind some people going with you back up the mountain and some people getting left behind. And, in my mind, who gets left behind? The people that are not willing to journey the path, the people that are not willing to receive what you have to say, right? And so I don't want to ever be somebody that gets left behind. So not only, and this is what I love about what you just said about you're a mentor, but you've also been a mentee before, right? So I'm open to receive, but I'm also one to help other people travel the path. And that's the journey and a chain reaction of, I love that. I love that. So don't get left behind. Be open to receive. That's right.
It. And let me add this too, based on what you said. I love conversations like this. I'm telling you, I'm loving in the arena. Okay. What you said is, you have been a mentee before. You can't be a mentor effectively unless you've been a mentee. I'm just saying, okay? And I think I need to let that rest right there. You cannot ask anybody else to do what you have never done. How? There are people who are creating and curating. I'm going to talk about my space for a moment, but there are people who are curating coaching programs, mentorship programs, courses, who have never invested in themselves. They've never invested in a coach. They've never invested in a mentor. You can't ask someone to do something you have never done. In order to be a mentor and coach, you have had to be a mentee or a coachee. And to continue the journey forward, you have to continue being a mentee or coachee. It's facts. That's it. Anything else y'all want to add? I appreciate y'all taking this time to speak to my people.
Sure. Oh, my pleasure. And I learned something this a long time ago, because I think there, as they say, you grow every decade of your life. You evolve into somebody different. And I think I was in one of those phases where, I was evolving, things weren't necessarily going my way. And I always have questions. I have a million questions in my head all the time. And sometimes, I'll pick one out and I say, okay, I'll chew on this one for today. And I don't know, I was scouring YouTube or the internet or somewhere, and I was looking for, because I remembered when I worked for a particular company, they were offering mentoring programs. The company was paying someone to mentor their employees. A lot of money. And very few people took the opportunity. I was like, they're paying for free. I'm going to do everything they want me to do. I am going to do it. And so I did. And so I had two mentors out of that program. One, it was kind of like a false start. And then I had the second one. And we never met in person, but it was conversations online. And so that kind of carried me forward, because the person who was kind of my counselor, managing my program with the mentor, she was like, you should do this. After you're done, you should do this. I was like, yeah, I would love to do this. I never got the chance to do it because life gets busy, work gets busy. And it wasn't until I worked with Dr. Sonia, and this year, all the posting, and I have to say this, all of the things that I've been doing, this is completely out of my comfort zone. Completely. Dr.
I know.
Fishing. I'm talking, I have been going kicking and screaming, because I would prefer to be the engine behind anything that's working. I don't want to be at the front facing. I don't want to do any of those things. I like to be in the background. And because she has pushed and says, this is good, and I understand that, this is what I need to do, it's uncomfortable, but I'm putting myself out there and not make it be uncomfortable anymore. And from doing all of my LinkedIn posts about what it is about my coaching and about my courses and whatever, my very first mentor that I had almost 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, I reconnected with him. Go figure. So it's all coming full circle.
That's always how it works. Yeah, that's how it works. But you know what it requires, right? Per usual, I'm going to say it. It requires you to take action.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you have the momentum rolling, it's going. Now we can't like go against ourselves and stop it. Because sometimes we can do that, right? And we don't want to do that. And so we want to keep it going. But what happens is things come full circle because we're in motion. So I can appreciate that. And I know, I would say the Sam today, this is not so far outside of your comfort zone. Not as it was when we first started. Sam was like, no, not gonna happen. I have to. I'm like, yes, Sam, like we gotta.
I was was very adamant about that.
Definitely was. And that's like the point, right? Like that illustrates that mountaintop symbolism, right? And I'm not like putting myself on a pedestal or anybody else, but it really is the reality of things. You do view people who are doing a thing that you want to do as so much further along. Like, are they reachable? Can I reach them? And I think that one of the things, I know that one of the things that really separates Jump First programs from a lot of programs is I am accessible. I am reachable, right? And I want to forever incorporate, as I know we're going to grow, but I will forever incorporate some of that accessibility in my programs, even if they are the higher level programs, right? That's totally cool too, because I want people to grow with me, and so that's exciting stuff. I love it. Awesome. Well, I will say that we're going to do our business panel. We're going to wrap our business panel for tonight. We're not going to do our dating panel tonight because some people chickened out. Not everybody, but some people chickened out. So what we will do, we will attempt our dating panel again on Thursday. But please know, even if we don't get to the dating, we will get to the dating panel. But we are going to have another speed dating opportunity on this Thursday. So if you haven't submitted an application, now that you see what it's like being in the arena, hopefully we get some more people who, with some courage, who also want to come up and speak to our panelists. Okay, let's go. So we'll be back for round 2. There's the business speed dating, and then there's the dating speed dating, if you will. And so both of those applications are available. All you have to do is send an email over to hello@jumpfirst.org, and Kat will send you over, which she did, right, for Virginia and Sam. She will send you over the actual link so that you're able to jump in, okay? And she moderates the chat and all those things, so kudos and shout out to Kat as well. I appreciate Kat helping me on the back end with a lot of things, so shout out to you, Kat. And then the other thing that I want to notate here before I leave our panelists an opportunity to say where you can reach them at, in case you're a little bit shy and you'd rather reach out privately. I totally get it. We definitely want to plug you and connect you with them. But I also want to plug Jump First, okay? Because again, I know the power of my program resources. Check out jumpfirstacademy.org, okay? Jumpfirstacademy.org in order to get started. I'm going to be quiet because I don't know what's going on with the internet tonight. All my tabs are closed. I've done like 50 tech checks, but here we are, okay? Nonetheless, the information is getting to whom it needs to get to. All right, so I'm going to wrap my panelists. If you would like to, again, just leave some final thoughts, if you could give one piece of advice to anyone who's watching, as well as where they can find you, how they can reach out to you, that would be amazing.
Okay, I'll go. One final thought. I'll put it this way. Don't put off what you can do today for tomorrow. As simple as that. And how you can reach me, I have an actual like LinkedIn page where you can schedule strategy calls. So I think what I can do is just drop that link in the chat, and you'll be able to read all the posts. But if you want to get a hold of me, schedule a time, send me a DM on LinkedIn. You can connect with me there.
Love it. Thank you, Sam. We link it in the description of the episode as well.
Awesome.
Thank you. Virginia, what you got?
Yes. So if I could, I was about to come in there hot just now. I'm excited to be here. So if I could leave your viewers, your audience, with one thing, I would say sometimes we forget these simple things, right? So at the end of growing pains, there's growth. And as simple as that sounds, we all go through a struggle. We all go through trying to find our place, trying to find our self-identity, trying to balance life. And sometimes it can seem overwhelming. But at the end of your journey, at the end of trying to figure out who you are and where you feel like your place, there's so much growth and there's beauty. And I really hope that all of you are able to have a story to tell, have your life be able to be a testimony, and to have some of you also say, I don't know how I got here, but I got here because I watched in the arena and I got a little advice. So, how you can find me, I am in a couple different places. My name on the screen, Virginia Murray, Murray. If you look me up on Google, if you Google me, I will pop up. But also, you can find my website at progressiveperspectivecounseling.com. That's progressiveperspectivecounseling.com. On there, you will also see an email and a phone number. Feel free to contact the practice through email and phone number. There's also links to social media pages on there. So progressiveperspectivecounseling.com, or you can Google me.
First of all, that is taking me out, and I love it. And I think it's like it has me a little like tickled because you're my younger sister, and it's so cute. I love that. Google me. I love it. Awesome sauce. Well, this has been In the Arena with Dr. Sonia. I am so thankful for Sam and Virginia being here on today. I'm also very grateful for you watching this, okay? Whether you have watched live or you're watching the replay, which, by the way, if you are watching the replay, type replay inside of the chat and also drop, like, what was your favorite thing about this episode of In the Arena? We are back on Thursday night. Hopefully, Sam and Virginia will join us in the arena again, and we have some additional mentors coming through, okay? Remember, being in the arena is not comfortable. You will be visible, but you will be growing, okay? And that is the best place to be, because if you are not growing, you are dying. And we don't want that, okay? Let's continue this thing called life. Let's continue impacting and helping as many people as possible. Don't forget, jumpfirstacademy.org to get started. And if you like what our panelists had to say, connect with them. Their information will be inside the chat or in the description below this video. All right. I love y'all so much. This has been In the Arena with Dr. Sonia, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.